All right, welcome. Today, we are going to pull back the curtain on one of the most powerful tools in finance, the McKinsey Discounted Cash Flow, or DCF Valuation Model. This is the real deal, the kind of tool the pros use, and we're about to take a guided tour to see exactly how it all works.
So, have you ever been there, staring at a blank spreadsheet, trying to build a financial model from scratch? I mean, it's a ton of work, it's complicated, and let's be real, it's just so easy to make a mistake. One broken link, one wrong formula, and your entire valuation can completely fall apart. So what if, instead of all that headache, you had a pre-built, totally reliable valuation engine ready to go? Well, that's exactly where the McKinsey model comes in. It's this incredibly robust framework that's designed to let you focus on what really matters, the analysis, the insights, instead of getting bogged down in the number crunching.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about the thinking behind McKinsey's valuation engine. Then, we'll look at the 4 simple worksheets that make up the whole thing. After that, we'll get into how to fuel the model with all the right inputs. And finally, we'll see the magic happen with the final valuation. Ready? Let's dive in. Okay, first up, McKinsey's valuation engine. The whole idea behind this model is actually super simple, but really, really powerful. Its main job is to handle all the complicated math perfectly so you can spend your brainpower on the strategic thinking, not on hunting for annoying spreadsheet errors.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. The whole point is to make sure that all the big, important numbers, like free cash flow, are calculated correctly every single time. So you gotta understand, this isn't just some random spreadsheet. It's a standardized, error-check system for valuing a company.
Okay, so how does this thing actually work? What does it look like? That brings us to section 2, the 4 worksheets. Honestly, the best way to think about these is as your roadmap. It's a clear path that guides you from all your raw data to a finished valuation in just 4 steps. And the structure is super straightforward. It all boils down to a simple 4 worksheet flow. You start by putting your information into 2 input sheets, historical data and forecast drivers. Then, all that data automatically flows into 2 output sheets, results and valuation. Clean, simple, and logical.
All right, so we get this structure, but how do we actually fuel this engine? Well, that brings us to section 3, and it's all about the inputs. This is really where we connect the dots, linking what a company has done in the past to what we think it's going to do in the future.
Now, what's really smart about this model is how it separates the inputs into 2 sheets. On one side, you've got historical data. This is all about the past, just the objective, hard facts you pull straight from the financial statements. On the other side, you have forecast drivers. This is all about the future, and this is where your brain, your analysis, and your assumptions all come into play.
So if we peek inside that historical data sheet, you'll see it's asking for up to 10 years of the essentials. You're plugging in the hard numbers from the income statement, the balance sheet, statement of equity, all the foundational stuff that your valuation is going to be built on.
Okay, now for the fun part, the forecast drivers sheet. This, right here, is the heart and soul of your valuation. It's where you, as the analyst, get to translate all your research and your strategic thinking into the actual numbers that are going to drive the company's future value. And the model lays this out really logically for you. You start by putting in your assumptions for the core operations. We're talking about things like revenue growth, EBITDA margin, which is basically a measure of profitability, and your working capital. The model even gives you 3 different ways to forecast capital expenditure, which is pretty handy. Okay, next up, we've got the financing and tax assumptions. This is where you'll plug in things like interest rates on debt and company's tax rate. And here's a big one. You'll also enter the weighted average cost of capital, or WACC. Just think of the WACC as the big discount rate that reflects the company's overall risk. It's the number we're going to use to bring all those future cash flows back to today's value. So, how does the model handle the really long-term future? It uses a pretty clever 3-period forecast. After your detailed forecast, it moves into a phase 2 where the assumptions get a little simpler. And then for the rest of time, it uses what's called a continuing value calculation. It basically boils down to a simple formula to capture the value of the company forever. All right, you've put in the work. You've entered the history. You've made your assumptions about the future. So let's get to the payoff. We're moving on to the final section, the output. This is where you see all your analysis come to life. The first thing you'll see is the results sheet. And the key thing to know here is that it contains 0 inputs. It is pure output. You can think of it like the model's dashboard, where it automatically crunches all the numbers and organizes everything for you.
And here's something that'll help you sleep at night. To make sure everything is rock solid, the model automatically runs 5 critical checks. It makes sure the balance sheet actually balances. I mean, how many times have we struggled with that, right? It checks that the cash flow statement ties out, all that good stuff. It's that air checking power we were talking about.
So at the end of the day, what do you actually get? The model produces 2 key things. First, you get a powerful 1-page valuation summary. And second, you get a comprehensive 16-page printable report that has all the details, your inputs, the financial statements, all the ratios, basically all the backup you need for your analysis. But really, let's be honest, the whole point of this entire process, your ultimate goal, is to produce this clear, concise 1-page valuation summary. Everything you've done, all the research, every assumption, it all funnels down to this single, powerful sheet. It's the entire story of your valuation in one quick snapshot.
So look, at the end of the day, the model is an incredible tool. It does the math, it checks for errors, and it gives you the final valuation. But the tool is just that, a tool. It's just the beginning. The real question is, what story will you tell with it? Thanks for joining me on this